Good day and welcome. This is our academic community research implementation program. And I'm really pleased that we have Dr. Trevor Adams. Good day, Trevor. How are you?
I'm very, very good, Rudy. Thank you very, very much. Glad to be here in conversation with you.
Thank you. So, Trevor, tell us about your education journey.
Yeah, my education journey hasn't been a straight line. It's been up and down and around and over and under. I left school with very little qualification, and then I went to college to retake a number of subjects so that I could get back on the pathway. I did a couple of A levels, um, but I only passed one. And then I went into the world of work, and in the world of work, studied part time in which I did an HNC in public administration. And then I found myself embarking on a number of different self-development programs and other courses as part of my work with the council's youth training scheme, Brent Council's youth training scheme, Brent Council's YTS. And so that was really, really good because as part of the work that we did, we had to ensure that we attended different training programs. But to kind of fast forward, I didn't really get to university until my middle 40s. I went straight on to doing a master's at University of Westminster in individual and organizational development. So working with facilitating the development of individuals within the context of organizations and contributing to the development of organization. So when I finished my master's, I was so encouraged by and I enjoyed studying my master's that I felt I needed to do something more. And I was encouraged to go and to do my doctorate. So I went on to do my doctorate. I chose practical theology because I pastored a church and faith had played a very important part of my personal development, but the community work that I delivered and developed, faith was a big played a big role. And I really wanted to understand that faith that led me to be able to set up and run quite successfully different projects within the community with different agencies, organization partners, including the council. So I'd really wanted to take a deeper look at that and how faith empowered and enabled me to do that.
Okay. So you're involved in improving access and participation at the college. What does this mean and how does it relate to the academic and community research implementation program?
Yeah, well, really, as I said, I was perhaps a late comer
Mm.
to the higher education academic world, a very late comer. And I felt that it is so important that everyone who wants the opportunity to pursue further or higher education should have the platform, the means by which they are able to do so. And it doesn't matter if you are an 18-year-old going on to university or a mature student seeking to develop yourself. And so the access and participation program acknowledges that there have been inequalities and still are inequalities in terms of people who are able to access higher education. And when you think of education and qualifications and moving up the social mobility ladder, then you recognize that because we live in a qualification economy, that actually there are people who may well be excluded, not because they're not intelligent, not because they're bright, but there are barriers that prevent them from being able to access the opportunity. And as somebody once said, we don't lack talents, abilities, and skills. What we lack is the opportunity. And so, an essential part of that access and widening participation is about identifying how can we facilitate community, people within the community, how can we facilitate those who are so-called hard to reach people? How can we facilitate the means for them to have the access that is enjoyed by other people who don't have those barriers and those challenges? So it's proactively looking for the opportunities to create the means by which people can further their development within the academic field.
Absolutely.
And it may also, sorry to say, it may also it also includes young people. So young people might still be at school. Is there something that we can do as a college to motivate, inspire those young people to work towards their potential so that they are able to apply to university?
Okay, excellent. So you're really creating those pathways for development.
Yes, yes.
So some people have obtained good jobs, as you've mentioned, and pay with having academic qualifications. So why do you feel people should, embark on studying at a higher education level at CRC when maybe they think that what they have already is good enough?
Yeah, I think if we just simply think of qualification and if we simply think of access to employment and access to a salary, then the argument that, you are in a good job, you are in paid employment, uh, is a very, very good argument. But if you are looking to develop your capacity to respond to change or be proactive in a rapidly changing world,
Mhm.
I might have a job through my vocational experiences, working in an office, for example. And I think of the time when I was working in an office, and you had the word processor. It was the word processor, or the typewriter. And yes, I could type, but I had to develop those skills. And when we moved on to the computer and in the introduction of different programs, it meant that I had to update my skills so that I can be at the cutting edge of performance and deliver the type of performance, the services that I needed to deliver. And so the pursuing further higher education in particular helps you to develop your ability, your skills, your knowledge. It's about your own development and your own satisfaction as a person, not just simply about your vocation, but also as well your development as a human being.
Okay. So some people do not see themselves as academic. And so a college like yours then, CRC,
Mhm.
how do you help people get over those self-imposed barriers to improving their educational attainment?
Yeah, that's a good question. And oftentimes I will hear people say, well, you know what, I'm not academic, right? I'm not academic and I don't know I can pursue that. And my response is, it's ridiculous really, because everything's academic and everything's not academic. Everything's vocational and everything is not vocational. And what I break down what it means by academic folks then begin to say, well, actually, I never saw it in that particular way. You see, within the institution, we use certain terms, and those terms become a barrier. Folks think, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? You know, you tend to think of academic, and you have the impression of a certain type of person. Remember what I said at the beginning, I did very, very badly at school. And I guess if somebody would have said to me, you know, you are not academic, I probably would have accepted that. But I think the skills that I developed over the years outside of the academy, in a sense, was the opportunity for me to validate those skills that I had. And I would say to everyone, and people might think this controversial, that when we think of academic, if we think in terms of structure, pursuits, if we think in terms of being able to reference, validate, etc., those are things which we do anyway. When you break it down, I mean, um, I teach on a foundation program, and I often ask my students, do you ever analyze things? When you go shopping, do you analyze what the prices are? Do you evaluate? And they would tell me, yes. They choose to go to one particular place and not to another because they're able to analyze. When you're crossing the road, are you analyzing the traffic? And they get it. And I said, well, actually, that is what academic stuff is all about. It's about evaluating, is looking at the value of this in comparison to that. You're going into the shop, see two tins of baked beans. One is the shop brand, one is the commercial brand. You're evaluating. You're thinking, when am I going to get value for money with this particular brand? Do I like the taste, etc., etc.? You are weighing it up. You are evaluating, and so part of the access and widening participation, part of the academic and community research implementation program is to break that down. Is to help people to break that down so that they can participate in the work that is needed to empower themselves, but also to empower the wider community.
And as you say that, then, so how are the programs at the college specifically relevant to individuals and organizations who are involved in the voluntary community, faith, and social enterprise sector?
Yeah, the programs uh, are directly relevant to individuals and community. First of all, the lecturers, we come from the community. I think it's important to actually acknowledge that, and we live within the community as well. And we have an understanding of, as I explained, we have an understanding of our communities in which we are culturally competent. So we are able to translate those academic terms in a way that the community can understand, individuals in the community can understand. But we also facilitate that, you know, a student coming along, encouraging the student to pursue their interest.
That's excellent.
Enabling community groups to say, okay, right, how do we take the enablement of our community? How do we take that forward? And it may well be looking at facilitation skills, leadership skills. Um, it may well mean looking at the type of, as I said, the type of language. So, do you have a development plan? Do you have a business plan? And if you think about it, a lot of people have an idea and they have the heart and they want to combine the idea that they have to make their community a better place with the heart. But they may not have the head and the information or how to be able to gather the information that perhaps funders would need for them to for them to be able to fund projects.
Yeah.
So you may have the heart,
Still,
you may have that motivation, that desire to bring changes, but if you don't understand the process, if you don't understand when we talk about project cycle, project design, evaluation, co-design, co-learning, if you don't understand that, then you are likely to be excluded. But because at the college we have had the experience of engaging with our community, we have interacted with some of the needs, we've identified the needs within our community, we've had other people have identified needs within our community, and we want to be able to be in a position where, one, we either deliver it ourselves, but we've got the tools, the skills, the knowledge as to how do we hold um, those within the statutory organizations, for example, how do we hold them accountable? We cannot do that if we don't know, if we don't have the knowledge and the understanding. And so it is to enabling community groups, community organizations, individuals working in those particular sector, empower them for them to be able to go forward.
some adults feel that they are too old to return to education. So what are your thoughts around this? What provision does the college make for adult returners to learning?
Well, we love adults. We love adults. If we're adults, we are open to you. If you're a young person, we are open to you. Look, I think we recognize that adults, they're adults who are may not have had the best of the educational journey. Someone like myself, for example. And so we offer a foundation program. And the beautiful thing about this foundation program, it allows students to develop their knowledge and understanding and the skills that they would need to write their assignment, but also the insights that they need in order for them to succeed. We have an amazing support, student support, pastoral support that allows the students to flourish. So we understand where the students are coming from. If there are barriers that we put up and we may not be aware, we allow the students to their voices to be heard to help us identify where there might be those barriers. But we do so within a community of learners. It's a community. We are there where students aren't competing with each other, but the whole process is about how do you interact with someone else, how do you contribute to their learning, and how do they contribute to your learning. So we have modules like self-directed learning. How do you shift from being dependent onto the lecturer to taking responsibility for your learning? We have a module around using the technology. You know, we may have grown up in an environment where you expect to go and take down a physical book from the library. We have an online library system where you've got access to thousands of books. And so we operate very, very much in a kind of digital world. And so part of that is enabling the students to learn the tools as to how they can operate effectively in a digital world as a student. So we provide that. We have a chaplain, which is myself, wear many hats, but also a chaplain. So there's that emotional, social support side for individuals who might be concerned about coming to the college and feel that they're too old, their brain cannot retain the information. The support is there.
And finally, then, Trevor, someone who's interested in any of your programs at the college and would like to apply, what is the process?
Well, there's a number of steps. They can contact the college directly, Christ the Redeemer College directly through phone or online. There is an online application form. I would encourage everyone to look at the website and to see the wide range and opportunities that are available. The process is very simple. As I said, go online, fill in the inquiry form, fill in the registration form, and somebody from the college will get back to you. Equally so, you could pop into our college in Harrow, the premises in Harrow or Ilford, and the addresses are there on the website, and to make your inquiries. But you will be welcome. There's a warm welcome that awaits you at the college.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you very much, really.